Hello. Good morning, people of the podcast that listen sometimes.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon.
Wherever it is that you are currently listening from the time of that day.
Yeah, today we're going to do episode 5. What's it called actually? I don't know.
It's called The Best Revenge is Dressing Well.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes, and this episode has all the fucking fashion. Oh my god, there's just so many adorable fashion moments. I can't even well, I'll get to them, but it just does. Like everybody is just dressed to the nines in this episode.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm very excited to get into this and finally learn what impalpate means.
To palpitate. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna say the like what it's called correctly. I did write it down though.
Yeah, you did some research and I'm very thankful because every time I watch that scene, I'm like, what in the fuck does this mean?
I will tell you, I promise. There's another thing that I looked up too because of a certain scene and I was like, "Oh, that's what that is." I just love little things in show, especially the show. There's like little moments where they say things and you're like, "What the fuck is that?" And then you go
Yeah.
and you look and you're like,
Oh.
"Oh."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that has a couple of those in this. So
Awesome.
yeah, so this episode is called "The Best Revenge is Dressing Well," and it starts off with a banger. The first scene, you see like everyone, Ed's crew and Stede's crew in a boat, and
They're hanging
Ed
out
they're
and
hanging out.
watching another ship.
Yeah, and Ed is like, "All right, what we have here is a medium-sized merchant craft. You'll note that if you look carefully at a distance, there's a lack of cannons and any other killing devices." And Izzy goes, "You're simply here to observe how real pirates function in the real world." And then Black Pete's like, but like we're
W-
also like
Yeah.
real pirates in the real world, so
It's kind of like a little excursion that they go on, and
yeah,
they're like, watch and learn.
yeah, basically. And Steed's like, "Quick question: how violent do we expect this to get?" And then it
Yeah.
cuts to
The violence.
violence.
Yeah, and Steve is very pressed on Lucius taking notes.
Yeah, he's like, "The gusto, note the gusto, Lucius."
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a dude falling over them, literally overhead,
Yeah,
and they have to duck. And Steve's just being like, Lucius, why aren't you writing this down?
"Note the gusto, Lucius."
Yeah, and then after that, they're sitting like on the after castle, and Lucius's legs is just going from side to side.
Yeah, it's so
And so,
cute.
yeah,
Oh, Lucius, I love Lucius in this episode so much.
uh-huh.
Like he's always so cute, but this episode in particular, he just like there's just so many little things that he does that I'm just like, "Oh, he's so precious to me." Like I love him.
It's so funny every time I see a character. I'm like, that is my favorite character, and then another character does something, and I'm like, oh, this is my favorite character.
Yeah, yeah, it's like hard to choose. And in this one too, Black Pete kind of stole my heart a little bit as well. Um but yeah, so they're sitting there and Lucius is writing down what Steed's telling him to and he's like noting like tips and stuff and not Fang, but the other guy,
Ivan,
Raven,
Ivan.
Ivan, he's like
Yeah, he's sort of looting the body,
yeah, and then
and
he's like,
he's
"Hey, by the way, all the gold teeth, dibs, I got
yeah,
those."
tips on the teeth. And Steve's like, oh look, there was nothing.
Yeah, I have that in my notes.
Nice.
And then the next scene, I want you to do this one because like like I feel like you just did this so well the last time we recorded,
Oh yeah, we should say we tried to record this episode one time before this.
but I didn't watch it, so it was all just like Liz telling me what happened and me going, "Uh
Uh
huh."
huh. Uh huh. Yeah, and I was being a shit show. So that's why we're re-recording.
You were not. You were great,
No
but I
man,
understand.
I was misplacing shit everywhere,
Well,
just
it's
like the
all right.
books in this next scene.
Didn't.
Because A segue. So Steed is replacing the library with books that he has already read because that's the
Yeah.
best way to loot stuff.
Yeah,
and
Ed's like,
Ed is like,
"Oh, no, you go."
and Ed is like, "What? You just steal this? This is lame." And so he slaps the books away from Steed, and he's like, oh, "No," because he was so excited about it.
He's like, "Yeah, look, I'm doing this." He's like, "I'm replacing, all the books I've looted with ones I've already read." And
Yeah.
then Ed is just like, "What the fuck? That is not looting, mate. Like, that's not how this works."
Yeah, and we have a great shot of the outfit of Ed. I guess
Mhm.
it's all the same outfit from the beginning, but I mean, it's so cool. Like all the leather and the how do you say that, gespe and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, all of his belts and,
Yeah.
um his outfit in general is just, like, so cool. Like,
Hmm.
he just looks so menacing and, like, I don't know, he's
It's
just,
just
like
so goth.
it's goth, yeah, mhm. He's such a daddy. Ugh, he's such a daddy.
Leather daddy.
Leather daddy.
Yeah, and then in the next scene, Ed teaches Steed how to threaten someone. So
Yeah,
they are in a shop of Frenchmen, I think.
yeah.
Okay,
There
yeah,
it's a friendship that they're
looting.
looting from.
Yeah, and then
And
oh, sorry, you go.
no, yeah, it's like Steed's like he's got this guy, the captain by knife point, but it's like this tiny little knife, and he's like, "You tell me where the loot is," but it's all like fancy and like posh, and the guy's like, "No," and then
Yes,
he's like,
no,
he's not cooperating.
yeah,
So Ed comes over and he's like, "You
and
just gotta
help
get,
me, please.
yeah, help me, please, Ed."
Yeah, fingers pointing
Fing-
to each other.
Fingers pointing. Um, and then Ed comes over and he's like, "You just got to put a little oomph in it." And then he just,
He stabs the
yeah,
mast behind the guy with his knife, and he's like, "Tell me where the loot is. Tell me where's the fucking loot."
yeah, he just goes crazy. And Steve's just like looking at him like, "Whoa," you know. And then he like whines like a little French baby.
And there's a meme of this as well. Like someone posted something, but without a link. And so someone posted that photo under it with, "Where's the link? Where's the fucking link?"
I love when people do that. Oh my god, so fucking clever. So then the next scene is like Steed is helping Ed learn about cutlery and like different like how to dine basically because they're trying to exchange skills. If you remember the last episode, they were basically like, "Oh, like we could learn from each other, blah blah blah." So that's what they're doing. So Steed is like trying to describe each of the utensils.
Oh, and it's pretty too. Did you notice all the leaves and stuff on the ends of the spoons?
It's so pretty.
So beautiful.
Yeah, the filigree that they have on them and like the vintage,
Silverware. Aha.
yeah, like vintage cutlery,
Hell yeah.
silverware.
Mhm.
That's the word. It's so beautiful. And then Seed says like, "Okay, remember, we're not eating, we're dining." And what is dining? Dining
Oh
is
yeah, yeah.
peasantry.
Yeah, and you see Ed thinking like, "Oh, peasantry."
Yeah, yeah,
It's so cute. It's like he's on this. He has a test,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. I did this whole scene is very like interesting to me because you really see
Yeah.
Ed is trying. And then on the side, the captain from the French captain's like, "Well, I wasn't expecting your kind to be on my boat or whatever." And then he's like, "My kind," and he's like, "I mean, a rich donkey is still a donkey." And Ed fucking loses it. Like he loses it. He's like, a fucking donkey," and he's like, "I have more riches than you can swing a stick at, mate." And like he's just fucking going crazy. And
Yeah.
Steed's like, "There's no need to debase yourself for a man that doesn't even have a single tureen on board." And I had to look up what a tureen was because I was like, "Why is that such a why?" Like, it's just like a weird
Yeah.
thing to say. Like, what's a tureen? So I looked it up, and it's a very like intricate looking teapot
Oh,
thing.
okay.
I have a picture of it.
Oh,
I
we
took
should
a
do
pic
that
I
on
took
the photo dump.
Yeah, so this is what a tureen looks like. It's like a very fancy looking.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's kind of like a soup bowl with what's it called? The dexel?
Yeah, but it's not it's for tea.
Yeah. But tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
It's for tea. It's very fancy. It's
very
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 fancy.
fancy. But before
Yeah,
this
like
they said something like escargot, which means
uh,
snail.
yeah, escargot. So that's a snail. Like he's like, "Oh, this fork is for
Escargot. It's like what for
escargot."
yeah.
It's a
It's a
tiny
snail
little
fork.
fork. Yeah, it's a snail fork. And
Yeah, and then
so then he's
oh,
like,
sorry.
"Oh, go ahead. No, you go."
Yeah, Steed is sort of talking reason to Ed, and Ed Ed is coming back.
Fixes
He's
his
like
hair.
clearing his hair from his
Like
face.
he's very delicately just like
Yeah,
with his
he's
fingers.
pulling his hair away from his face, and I think that's kind of like such a gay thing to do.
It is, but not only that, it's almost like he was like, he's trying to embody being fancy. So he's just like, yes,
Oh no, I
there's
think
no
it
need
was just frustration and just trying to get his hair out of his face, and that's just him like being
being
gay.
being gay. Okay, and then he's like, yeah, you're right. No need to get riled. And then he goes and he looks at Fang and he's like,
But do
um,
you know what donkey means?
no, I remember. No, I think you described this last time. Why don't you kind of give us a
Yeah, I don't know if I can explain it better than last time, but so anyway, it's a sort of a slang, but in a bad way towards indigenous
slur?
people. Yeah, slur. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
so that's why he got all mad with reason because he was basically how do you say that?
Yeah,
Uitschelden.
he's like being offensive and like being a shit.
Yeah, he was being hella offensive. So like you go, Ed.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
that's like super rude. I didn't know that it was towards indigenous people, but like calling someone a donkey in general is just like a fucked up thing to say, but the fact that it like is linked to like a slur to indigenous people, like I'm surprised Ed didn't fucking murder him on the spot.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Please don't quote me on it though, because I'm not an expert at all.
No, no, but I do think that I've heard that before
Yeah.
as well. But
But
yeah,
he gets his revenge kinda because
he
he tells
does.
Ben to skin the dude with the snail fork before dumping him into the
Yeah.
ocean with a heavy weight.
I know, and, like, Ed, when he says this, looks insane, and I kinda understand now I understand more because
Hmm.
of the kind of offensive nature that it was. He's just like, "Oh, and skin him with this before you
Yeah.
throw him over." And Steed is just like,
Yeah.
And while Steed, terrified, continues his lesson, Ed is having a flashback to his mom telling him about like this fine red silk. And
Hmm.
she's saying, like, oh, this Carmen, whatever estate is full of things like beautiful things like this. And Ed asks why they can't have those things. And his mom has like this really interesting like response to it that's kind of like fucked up. But she's like, yeah, she's like, that's up to God. Like God chooses who like what people get basically. And then she says, "But we're just not those kinds of people." And it's really sad.
Yeah.
And then
Hmm.
the next scene, Steed finds Ed, and Ed is like holding this red piece.
He's holding the silk and it looks very big at
Yeah.
first, but I think it's actually quite a small thing. Is it the same as in the flashback?
Yes, it's the same one, and he's holding it, and he's
Okay.
obviously like still in thought about like that flashback. And Steed's like, Edward, everything all right? And then Ed's like, oh yeah, that's fine, fine, that's fine. And he's like, I couldn't
Yeah.
help but notice that the captain got under your skin a little bit. And Ed's like, what? No, no, his words though.
Yeah. They sounded polite, but they stung. That's called passive aggression, Steed says. It's like, whoa. And he explains it that normal people, like pirates, they fight with their hands and swords, and rich people fight with their words. And Ed is like, that's fucking diabolical.
I love when he says that. He just looks so, like, disgusted.
Yeah. Or
And then
amazed.
suddenly Frenchie comes in.
Yeah, and Frenchie walks in and he's dressed to the nines. He's looking hella fine.
I said the same thing. I was like, "He's looking fine as hell." I was like,
Yeah.
Frenchie, damn." And then he's holding this, like, invitation, and he's like, "Oh, look, it's, this invitation
Yeah,
for
he's
Hoy."
like, "Good day, you fine sirs." He's feeling fancy too.
It's such a good look on him. It's like this, like, it's like this plum colored outfit, and he has, like, I don't know what that's called, but, like, where it's, like, where it has, like, the ruffles in the front.
Um, yeah, oh shit, I know the name, but
He just looks amazing, guys. Just trust us, okay? He's like, he just looks hot. And then he says
yeah.
that he like rummaged through and found something that wasn't disgusting and put it on, and he looked great.
Yeah, he said something that wasn't burnt or thrown overboard or something.
Yeah,
And
like
so
that.
he found this, and he also found an invitation to a hoity-toity party.
Yeah, I love that. Hoity-toity people. The
Yeah,
hoity-toity people. And Ed says he doesn't care, and he's like, he's
you see him looking. He's so he wants to go so bad, but he
yeah, and
doesn't want to show it.
he's like waiting for he wants Steed to kind of lead them. Like I think he's like afraid to like show his interest.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't fucking care. He's like, but maybe we should just go. Maybe we can go. Like he's like, I don't care.
Yeah, and then so Steed is like, nah, we shouldn't go. And Ed gives this he says like, oh, but if we go, it gives me a chance to practice my massive aggression.
And then Steed's like, passive aggression.
Yeah,
And
so
he's, yeah,
mhm,
passive
yep, yep,
passive
yep, yep.
aggression.
And it's so funny when I think they decide to go, and then Ed walks over to Frenchie and is like, "What are you doing tonight?" As if they have anything else to do on this freaking ship. It's so funny.
And he's like, you don't have anything to do? Okay, we're going. Let's do
Right,
it.
great.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ah,
this is one of my favorite
yeah.
scenes. The next scene.
You know what I read? I read Enter River's favorite quote.
I love it. So Izzy walks in after Lucius went down on Black Pete. Pretty
Oh,
sure
was
that
that
they
what
had.
happened?
Yeah, for sure. Like I think like the way they were laying and stuff, and then he got up and he's like, "Was that good?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was good. That was good."
Oh, okay.
You good? I'm good. um,
Yeah,
and then
and wee John
Izzy's
is just having a
he's
nap in the
yeah,
same
he's
room,
napping, napping,
napping,
quote unquote.
quote unquote,
I just love that scene because like as soon as you notice that he's napping there, you also see Izzy just like sipping on
on something.
like a cup of something, but it just looks like mm-hmm. Like
He's
he's
sipping the tea,
in the tea.
uh, but I don't know why is wee John there? And later on he's like, yeah, we heard ya.
And then Lucius is like, "Well, I do like an audience."
Is that why wee John was there? Because Lucius dragged him in.
Yeah, probably. And then Izzy's like, "Oh, I see. You think you're cute."
This scene is so awkward as well. I'm always laughing awkwardly at this scene. It's like
Yeah.
secondhand embarrassment. You think you're cute. Well, actually, I just think I'm just so. But I've decided to carry myself like I'm cute.
And then Blackbeard's like, "It worked on me."
And then Izzy goes like, I don't even want to do it, but
It's so weird. I just said, Izzy's laughing weird? And he's like, oh, daddy, daddy.
yes. And
So
then
awkward.
right after you see the regret on his face and he's shaking his head.
He's like,
Anyway,
it's like he let something inside of himself slip, and then he noticed that it slipped, and he's like, "You're a bitch. I'm gonna make you do chores now."
yeah, I wonder what was going on in the writing room, or if it was even written down or not. Maybe it was improvised.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, where?
How did this make the cut? Like, what the fuck?
It's just so good though. It's so awkward and so good. I think it like shows just
Yes.
like Izzy has some problems. Izzy's going through it.
Yes. Maybe he's just sad that they can do things that he wants to do but
Yep,
can't.
that's probably exactly it. So then the next scene, Ed and Stede are walking up to the party doors on the ship, and this is a fashion moment for Ed. This is a fashion moment. Like,
Oh,
he looks
yes.
so swanky. He's wearing this like lush, like purple and
Purple.
it's like velvet with gold like
Mhm.
lining and stuff. Oh, his beard is like super like well kept
The little
with
ribbons.
little purple ribbons in his hair.
It's so
He
brilliant.
just looks
And
fine.
and he has like a bun
Yeah.
with other flowers in it.
Yeah, it's like little clippies. They're like frilly clippies that kinda look like flowers.
Yeah, it's really on point. And yeah, everyone is looking really on point for this party. Well, okay, our crew is looking on point. Let's just say that.
Yeah, everyone from
From the Revenge
everyone from the Revenge is looking fine as hell, and everyone else
and from the Queen Anne's Revenge as well.
yeah, but then the rest of them just kinda look really weird. Like, they look like doodles. They're dandy doodles.
Well, I think it's mostly because of their face paint.
Yeah.
They have their face painted really white.
They're all wearing those, like, big white, like, curly, I forget there's, like, a name for that kind of, like
Yeah, like sort of Victorian Renaissance kind of wigs that are meters long, basically.
yeah, it's very and they're all wearing them, and they all have that white, like I think they're called doodles. I don't know. I feel like they're called doodles.
Okay. And they're like, "Oh, who are you?" And Steed is like, "It was the dude that got the invitation, Godfrey
Godfrey Thornrose,
Thornrose."
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I'm Jeff, the accountant. Uh, and Frenchie says, "You know you can pick anything, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I like the name Jeff, and accounting sounds fancy as fuck."
It's so good.
Yeah, and then Frenchie introduces Oluwande as the Crown Prince Azik.
Yeah, from Egypt.
Yeah, and so the dude goes to kiss Oluwande's hand, and then Frenchie sort of like bats him away if it has been long enough for him.
Yeah, exactly, I love it. They're such a cute duo in this episode.
Uh-huh,
And then
yeah.
he calls him, like, his
He's the viceroy.
visory, and then Olu's like, what does a visory do?" And he's like, "Whatever the fuck I want, babe."
Whatever the fuck he wants, babe.
Oh, yeah.
I love that he calls him babe, so casual. And when they enter, they all kind of say please, and Ed goes kind of overboard, like please, please.
Yeah, yeah, I did notice that too. He's trying so hard to fit in. You can
Yeah.
tell. Okay, so this is when two of my favorite comedians walk up, Nick Kroll and Christina Shaw. So Nick Kroll plays Gabriel and Christina Shaw plays Antoinette, and they're a couple.
No, they're married.
They're married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's sorry, but her voice, I fucking hate her voice so
She
much.
does it on purpose, dude. It's so
Oh, does
funny.
she?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was. I'm so sorry, but I thought it was her real voice.
No, it
Because
is,
it's
but
the same in What We Do in the Shadows and also in Bob's Burgers.
yeah, no, she does it's like on purpose.
Wow,
I'm
props to
sure
her then.
I'm
That's
sure her voice
amazing.
actually sounds like that, but that she, like, emphasizes it more. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? How some people do that for certain characters?
Yeah.
Like, the nanny, Nanny McPhee. You remember her?
Yes. Oh, but I don't remember the movie so good that I remember her accent
Uh,
or
Nanny
her
McPhee
voice.
it was like a show,
Oh,
and
I
she
thought it was
sounded
a
like
movie.
no, it's like it was a show from, like, I think it was the '90s, and,
That's
uh
the nanny that becomes prettier every time something happens.
no, 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 that's a
Oh,
movie.
yeah,
Nanny
but I
oh, no,
thought that was Nanny McPhee.
no, it's me, I'm wrong. It's god damn it.
Or do you mean the one with the umbrella?
No, the nanny, it's like
Oh, you mean Mr. Sheffield?
Yes! That's what I meant! Not Nanny McPhee.
Oh my god!
Oh oh my god, Mr. Sheffield!
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember her voice.
This one, you know.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know which one you mean.
Yeah, no, you said Mr. Sheffield. It's exactly that.
Yeah.
But she probably does sound like that in real life. She just emphasizes it.
Yeah.
Um,
Steed and Ed walk down the stairs, and Ed is trying to come up with conversation stuff to say,
yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, I know something funny that happened when I was bashing this man's skull in," and Steed's like, "Oh, not really the crowd for skull talk."
yeah. And he kind of looks disappointed. He's like,
Yes.
um, and then they come up, Nick Kroll and Christina Shaw. They come up and they're like, they ask if he's
Are you the
Godfrey.
famed Godfrey Thornrose?
Yeah, and and they keep asking, and then Ed's like, yeah, are they deaf?
Yeah. Also, this maybe this is too soon to say, but Ed is so autistic coded in this party.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
everything that he does. It's like, oh, that's me.
Yeah, no, I felt that too. I didn't realize it. I forgot that people were saying that he was autistic.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know if they mean it for him as a character as a whole, but at least this party, it really feels like he's an autism embodiment, sort of. I don't know if that's the right phrase, but
I think
yeah.
maybe he might be a little bit. But anyway, so then they ask like, "Oh, are you the one that does the I don't think I'm going to say this correctly, but they basically ask him if he'll palpitate. He's like, "Will you palpitate my wife?"
Can you palpitate my wife?
And
Yeah.
so I looked it up, and what it was is it's like a person that will feel the lumps and valleys on your skull to kind of
Hmm.
tell you whether or not like it's like a way of divining, right? Like it's a mysticism thing, like kind of like reading tarot cards, but it was completely false
Oh, it's kind
and
of like reading your palm, but
palms,
then
but it
your head.
yeah, and a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
people were into it back then. Like a lot of people were
Ah,
into it. And
also makes sense the later comment.
yeah, and also some of the scenes, because like, I think they try to explain it in the episode, but in that moment, it sounds very sexual, and he's like, "He's going to palpitate my wife in front of
Oh yeah, and
everyone."
it's like, oh, that didn't take long.
Yeah, because of the way it sounds, right? But when you look it up, you're like, "Oh, it's just like some weird divination thing that
Yeah,
is very
but
fake."
what does Ed mean by that? Did he mean like, oh, all
Yeah,
these
because
fancy
because
hoity-toity parties are orgies, or
yeah, exactly, exactly. Because, like, when he said, "Oh, will you palpitate my wife?" It sounds like penetrate.
oh, okay, so that's
Like,
where he went.
yeah, that's
Okay,
where
that
that's where
also
the
makes sense then.
that's where the joke was going because he says
Okay,
later he's like Gabriel's like, "Oh, he's going to palpitate my wife in front of everyone," and like almost like penetrate like sex for show. So it's just a joke on that, but when you look into it, like that's what it is.
alright, alright.
Um, okay, so the
Yeah,
next
and
scene is Olu and Frenchie.
yes. Oh, sorry. Before this, I don't remember quite what what this means. But I wrote something down, so it was funny. But I don't remember what was said before this. Um, I quoted, "I probably shouldn't be telling all this, but what the hell? Siegfried gets us."
Oh yeah. So that's when Nick and not Nick, oh sorry. That's when Olu and Frenchie are like swindling this like rich idiot.
Oh yeah. Oh sorry. Yeah.
No,
So
that's
we
exact
are at the pyramid scheme. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they're like swindling this guy and then like Olu's like not sure where Frenchie's going with it, but Frenchie's like rolling with it and then he says that.
Yeah, I think Frenchie has this whole plan thought out, right? And Olu's just hanging out and just going with the flow.
Right. And he's like got this accent on, which is really cute. And they're basically trying to come up with like a pyramid scheme, but it's not Olu is like out of the loop. So Frenchie's just like he's just like rolling with it.
Yeah.
And then once they get the guy into this story, right, that Frenchie's telling, like
Mm-hmm.
that's when Frenchie says, "Oh, he says what you read."
Okay, yeah. Yeah, he's like that because Olu is this king from Egypt, and his pyramids. I
He's
don't know
like,
what was going on with the pyramid, but
okay,
he lost his riches.
then, well, he says the riches are in the pyramid. That's basically what it is. He's like, "Oh, well, but we need people to kinda help facilitate this because it's basically just a bunch of garbage that he's saying with the promise of you will get rich at the end of this if you
Yeah.
help us, but we need a
Mhm.
down payment if you want to help us. But don't worry cuz you're going to get rich afterwards." So it's basically like this big it's like did you ever get emails? "Hi, my name is blah blah blah. I'm the prince of blah blah da, 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 and I
No,
just
I
need to."
didn't, but I heard a
Yeah,
lot
it's a
of people
scam.
talking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a scam, and it's basically just like it's a pyramid. It's literally a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, that's why it's so funny that they
Yeah.
are talking about that they're creating this pyramid scheme.
Yeah, I love it. It's so good. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then Olu's like with it, right? Like once Olu gets on board, he's like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah, I'd I
okay."
bet.
Um, and then the next scene, Steed is examining Antoinette's head, and he says that he can tell that he's like, it feels like you're of Dutch descent. And she goes, no, I'm Peruvian. And Ed goes, I killed.
I killed a Persian once.
Yeah. And then everybody's shocked. And he's like, oh, out of self defense.
Yeah. What did he say? He, that he was talking so much or something? Or
Yeah.
sometimes that's the only way to shut a man up.
Yeah. Or end a bad conversation.
Oh yeah,
And
that was it.
everybody's quiet. And then they start laughing their
Laughing.
asses off.
Yeah.
And everybody's like fascinated by Ed. And I think this is when like everybody's laughing and having a good time, and then I want to say like the energy goes from whoever Ed was or whoever Steed was pretending to be. The focus of Steed kind of goes towards Ed,
Yeah.
and I don't think that Steed knows how to handle it at first. Like he just kind of looks a little sad. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
something I noticed.
And this was also an autism point to me, because he is being Ed is being unintentionally hilarious,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, that's just very autistic coded,
Yeah,
in my
exactly.
opinion.
No, and then later on it like gets worse. Okay, so then the next scene, Lucius is being hoisted down. You do this cuz you did it perfectly last time.
This is far too fast. This is far too fast. This is far too fast. And it goes down so slow.
Yeah. It's like the slowest ever.
Yes.
He's being hoisted down the side of the boat.
Yeah, and you also see some rainbow flash again. We talked about this before, and yeah, you see them in this shot again, and and then it stops, and he's like, "Ah, you twigged my back," and so Izzy is saying to Lucius that he has to basically clean the side of the ship, and Lucius is being really mad because do you know how bad this is for my hands? My and the captain will be very mad or something if my calligraphy is negatively what the fuck, if my calligraphy is negatively impacted in any way.
I'm sorry. You're so cute. What the fuck?
Yeah, but fuck English, dude. These words are so difficult.
No, you did great. You did great. Um yeah.
Yeah, and then he's going on this on this tangent, and then Fang pops his head out, and he's like, "He's left, dude."
Uh, And then he realizes he's like, I know a way out of this. And so he bats his beautiful little
I
eyelashes
wrote
and
it
he's
down
like,
like, "Fang, I'm supposed to watch you." And Lucius immediately starts flirting.
yeah, exactly. Like he
It's like,
knows.
"Have you ever been sketched? Oh no,
Yeah,
you have such lovely cheekbones." And you see Fang be like, "Oh,
yeah,
he's melting."
yeah. I mean, how can you not? Lucius is so cute. If Lucius like flirted with me, I'd lose it. Yeah, so he's like, have you ever been sketched before? And then like Fang's face, like he's just so giddy.
He lights up, yeah.
Yeah. And then the next scene, Ed is telling these elaborate stories to everybody, and they seem so captivated.
Yeah. He's talking about I had the word, but now I
I
don't.
forget too, but he's just like on one. He's just like telling all these.
Cabin cannibalism.
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 There we go.
Man.
I I
Cannibalism.
love
Hell yeah.
I love you. You're like, "Oh, man." Um, yeah, and then, everybody's captivated, and then Stede tries to, like, interject and tell one of his anecdotes, but nobody wants to hear him, and Gabriel goes,
Yeah.
"Will you never stop it with your excessive nattering?" And then Ed goes,
Yeah, and they ask Ed if they ate human flesh and or if he tasted it, and then he was like, I didn't really taste it because I tried to get it down as fast as I
yeah,
could.
exactly.
And then later on, he's just yelling like, "I actually did eat a man," and everyone laughs.
I think it's, like, so funny because he's just telling, like, the truth about things, and everybody's just laughing, and you can't tell if they're captivated and excited to hear it or if they're just like, "This guy is so crazy," and, like, just laughing
Yeah.
because of that. And then,
I thought it was just being interesting because he is so different from
yeah.
them that he has all these stories that are so crazy to tell, and he's just like, "Oh, I got the crowd now."
Yeah, but I this is the part where I was kind of wondering, I'm like, because they seem like they're having a good time, right? They're like, "Oh, yay!" But are they looking at him like a jester? You know what I mean? Like a clown? Like, this is the point
Oh,
where it
if
starts to
he's
turn a
an
little bit.
entertainment
Yeah, okay, but
thing,
there's this
yeah.
one part where, um, like, when Gabriel's like, "Will you never stop it with your excessive nattering?" And Ed goes, "Once he's palmed your cranium a few times, it's impossible to shut him up." And he's like, "Seriously, half the time I'm like, Godfrey, will you stop fingering my dents? And let's get back to some accounting."
Yeah. What is dent?
Like, the dent like, you know how, like, your the
Oh,
dent
so that goes back to the palpitating.
fingering your dents? Yeah, exactly, like, there's so many sexual innuendos in this, and then, Antoinette's like, "I'll let you finger my dents if you ever" like, basically, she's like, "If you ever have a change in career or whatever," and then she's basically inviting him to, like, finger fuck her.
Oh, okay. Oh, you pick up on so many things that I'm just like not picking up
It's
on.
'cause I'm a hor it's 'cause I'm a horny bitch. That's why. And also you're ace, so you're just like, "Okay."
And yeah, I don't see anything. I don't see anything past what's being said. No, but it's interesting though because we have both now different
Mhm.
perspectives, so we can tell each other, and then we end up being more rich with knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the part where I really notice that Steed is just like not sure how to feel and he's looking really sad. And I genuinely felt bad for him.
Yeah, and this is probably the first time that Steed has actually not been either the star of the show or into the fancy thing because I'm guessing he's had a lot of fancy parties and he's probably been really good at them, and now it's really weird because
Yeah.
it's going not the way that it's normally goes, I think.
Yeah. I think that too. I think Steed is kind of used to being
Yeah.
the center of attention in terms of like his stories and stuff. Um and then
We go back then to Olu and
yeah.
Frenchie, and they say, with any luck, this pyramid scheme of ours will make us very wealthy. And Frenchie is just so funny. That's it. He's
Yeah, I was gonna say like I'm just like the whole time every time Frenchie comes on the screen in this episode, I'm just like, man, he's so hot. He's so hot.
and then the dude walks away. He's talking about how he can never uh put his slave in the place where he wants him to be
Yeah,
or something like that.
yeah. So the guy that they're talking to has a servant that is
Servants.
black.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. No, but it's essentially a slave. Let's be real.
Yeah,
Like it's
that's
his.
yeah, true.
And so when they get this guy
Hmm.
in the loop and they got him on the pyramid scheme and he walks away thinking that he's like gonna be rich, his servant kind of looks at these guys and he's like, I know what you're up to.
Yeah, they're French and Oluan, they
Yeah.
are talking amongst themselves, but then that dude has overheard them, and they're like, I know
Yeah.
you guys are up to something, aren't you? And they're looking like,
Eh,
oh shit, we just got caught, and then he immediately gets in on it.
yeah, he's like, I wanna be a part of this. Like, and who wouldn't? Like, let's be real. Like, these
Yeah,
annoying rich white people deserve to be fucked in the worst way possible.
yeah, and he's like, I can get you a room, and then they just upgraded in their business.
I literally said at this point, like later on when there's like this long ass line for the pyramid
Mhm.
scheme, I literally said that Olu looks like a mob boss because of the way like we have to take a
Oh,
screenshot because of the way that he's sitting and then like Frenchie's like at his side. He looks like a mob boss.
a badass.
Yeah. Oh, and then so after the scene, Lucius is sketching Fang, and we
Oh,
see Wee John come in, and he's like, "Yeah, the boss is looking for you." And then Fang gets like scared. He's or not.
yeah,
Yeah, he does. He thinks it's
yeah,
Ed,
fine.
and
He's
then
like, oh shit, it's Blackbeard back.
yeah, and he's like, "No, no, no, that angry little fecker."
Yes, the little angry fucker.
Yeah.
It was so I was interested why Fang is so afraid of Ed, because I mean we know he's Blackbeard and he has his very dark side, but he's also,
I
tell
think
me.
I think I can answer that. Didn't Ed I don't remember if it was this episode before this episode, it might be after, but we do find out why Fang is scared, and I maybe you remember which episode it is, but Fang is afraid of Ed because Ed killed his dog.
Oh, I think that's in the next episode, yeah.
Yeah, so you
Which we
kind of
already
find out.
covered, but hey, we're not really going chronologically here.
Not with this one, anyways.
Yes.
We were, but now I had
We
watched
were
it.
up until we fucked this episode, and then we went to redo it because it was not up to the standard
Standard,
that we wanted to be.
yeah.
Yes.
Not that anything ever is really, but you know,
Yes, so true.
we are
You're so right.
we're chaotic. It's okay. But yeah,
Yeah,
and then he calls Izzy
is he the
the
spewer?
spewer. Yeah.
Yeah, and Lucius is just like, do tell.
Yeah, he's like, "Give me the tea on this
Yes.
situation." And then he says that once Ed left Izzy to be in charge, but they were going through like really crazy waters.
Rocky waters. Yeah.
Izzy was like
Spewing everywhere.
barfing. Yeah, and then he's like, and then he shit himself like twice, like a lot of shit.
Yeah, and then Izzy walks in and it's just high pitched, like, what the fuck? Because he sees Lucius drawing Fang. But surprise, it's not Fang's. Uh,
Face.
it's,
It's his
yep.
genitalia, and it's
And it's
massive.
only his genitalia.
It's literally just like the bush, the cock, and the balls. Like that's it.
Yeah. And before this as well, you see wee John, he walks up and he's looking at Lucius' sketch and he's like, oh, you really captured the essence here. And
Yeah,
Lucius is like, just recording what's there.
yeah, and it's so perfectly framed too, because you see like Fang laying down naked, and then like it is like the paper is literally just covering where his genitalia
Yes,
would
it's
be,
perfectly
but like
censored,
closer.
but then there's this big
Yeah,
tick on the paper.
because it's I guess it's because it's a drawing. It's okay.
Yeah, probably.
And then
Yeah,
we cut to the table
well,
scene where they where
I just want to cut in real quick because before the scene, we also had that
yeah
Ed was going to play. Um, he was sitting on the piano or something, and someone was like, "Oh, play us something," and he was like, "I'm not very musical, love," and then he goes on to play very well,
yeah,
and
and then he's dancing and having like the best
yes,
time.
and he's dancing around, and everyone is just clapping and laughing. And Steed is being there. He's like seething. No, he's not seething, but he's grumpy.
He is really grumpy. Like you can tell that he's just like going through it, and you don't like. I don't know if I don't know if it's jealousy. It might be two things. It might be that Ed is no longer having all of his attention on him,
You mean Steed?
and these No, no,
Oh.
no. Ed doesn't have his attention on Stede. Ed has his
Oh.
attention on these people. He's entertaining these
Oh,
people.
good
So I
point.
think it's yeah, I think it's like a double-edged sword. Like Ed is not paying attention to Stede. So Stede feels like his friend isn't there with
Mhm.
him. He's doing his own thing. And then on top of that, S Steed isn't getting the attention from the
Yeah.
strangers, these other people as well. So he just feels like he's bummed out. He's not having a good time.
Yeah. And then we have the dinner scene after the drawing, and um, they all
This is where things really turn bad.
yeah, and it's very
Yeah.
relatable, kind of.
I honestly genuinely, like, felt this really hard. Like, and when you said what you did about, this episode kinda showing some, like, autistic traits and stuff, like, this scene in particular was really difficult for me to watch because I've been there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's basically sitting down to have dinner with all these hoity-toity people, and
Hoity-toity.
and he doesn't know how to which fork to use and which spoon and stuff. So he just sort of eats, and they says something like, "You have a very particular way of eating," and he's like, "Oh, thank you," and he continues, but then everyone starts laughing, and so Ed
Yeah.
is like, "Oh, that's it. That's it. You did it. This is the passive aggression that Steve was talking to me about." And he's like, "Whatever do you mean?" and he's like, "Oh, you're doing it again."
Yeah, Gabriel's so good at it. Yeah, and Gabriel's like, What is it that we are doing that you think that we are doing? I'm not doing anything." And then Ed fucking loses it.
Yeah, and that's also he says what he thinks, and that's also a thing.
It's yeah, he's like, "I'll fucking kill all of you guys. You don't know who the fuck I
Alayus.
am."
Yeah, because you have to remember he's Blackbeard, and everyone is always very afraid of him, and here they
Yeah,
are not. But
right. And after he says that, Antoinette's like, whatever are you going to do? Are you going to bore us to death?"
oh yeah, yeah. And I don't know if it's before this or after, but Antoinette goes to touch his beard, and I don't know if it's
It's
the
it's right before
oh
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I don't know if it's the ribbon or his beard itself, but I'm sorry, this is also a sensitive thing, but I think that's also that with indigenous people that it's very disrespectful to touch their hair.
Mhm.
And so it's logical that he gets very upset after that, and he's like
Yeah.
he flinches away.
Yeah, and then he gets up. That's when he's like, "You guys don't know, like, anything about me." Um, and that makes much more sense too. Like, he's just like he goes from having, like, the time of his life to sitting down in an awkward situation where he's never been in. He doesn't remember he's, like, trying so hard to remember which utensils to
Yeah.
use, and he gets flustered, which is, like, if you're autistic, you would
Mhm.
understand. Like, you get flustered, and it becomes, like, your whole
Yeah,
body.
because
It's like a whole body thing.
yeah, because you don't understand what is going on, and everyone else around you do, and it's just you feel kind of hopeless in those
You feel like an
situations.
alien.
Yeah, another episode that should probably be out when we have this episode out.
Yeah, so that was just, like, a lot for him, and so after like, he's already in a situation where he feels flustered, and then people start laughing on top of that, like, it's just, like, too much, like, and when you're autistic, like, you have blow ups when stuff like that happens, and so there's that, the laughing, and then her trying to touch his hair, which obviously he didn't want, and he was already upset, like, I wouldn't wanna be touched either. So, he just, like, says what he's thinking, he's like, "Imma fucking kill all of you guys," and then he runs out of the room.
Yeah, yeah, and the door doesn't work, so there's just another drip in the bucket that will flow over.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then he's outside and he's just getting ready. He's getting his gun ready to, and he's like, "Stand down, Ed, stand down." because Stede is conducting a plan,
Yeah.
and Frenchie is talking about how he knows that they are not all that they seem. That like they seem really fancy and stuff, but underneath that there's a lot of shit, and he knows because he's been in service for a while. So yeah,
Yeah.
he knows what's going on behind the curtain, and then Ed is like, "Oh, I used the wrong spoon or something," and Frenchie's like, "They are such dicks about spoons."
It's so true though.
Yeah. Oh no, I want to say French is my favorite but character, but I mean they all are.
They're all, and you know who isn't in this episode that it's kind of sad? Jim.
Oh, Jim too, yeah, and the Swede as well,
The Swede isn't in it. Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Buttons.
this yeah, I wonder if maybe they just like didn't work. They
They're
just
having a
weren't work
nap, probably, or maybe they're playing around in the ballroom, or they're having tennis.
something.
Oh, maybe they were just hiding from Izzy the Spewer.
Jim is definitely sharpening their knives.
Yeah, that's of course.
So decides that he's going to use passive aggressiveness on these people. And I actually stopped taking notes because I was just like immersed in the show.
Yeah, Steed, he was like, I didn't know, I didn't have the time to translate, but I said Steed maakt zin because Steed was laying out all the dirty laundry of everyone.
Yeah, basically he just like he like I feel like we should just insert some audio clips from this because
Yeah,
it's better than us explaining it. Honestly, like it's just genuinely a good scene where Steed is just like,
yeah.
"Oh, and you and you guys, you are brother and sister." And
No, he was
y'all
like, oh no, how did you guys meet? And they are like, a picnic? No, at a dinner. So they're being hella fake. And then he's like, no, I think you guys actually met at birth.
Exactly. Let us begin. Now, ah, Sebastian, have you ever had a child out of wedlock named, say, Daphne?
Lucia? Isn't that the name of your child?
Score one for me. Now, yes, Siegfried. I hear you're struggling financially.
Piffle. Patently false.
Maybe because you've been embezzling from your business partner for the past 8 months.
I didn't know people still embezzled. How grubby.
No, just inherited like a normal person.
Gabrielle, Antoinette, you've both been married for some time, haven't you?
Yes, for many years.
Seriously, happy.
Tell me, how did you two meet?
We met at
Picnic.
a bowl.
You see, I think you might have met at birth, seeing as you're actually siblings.
That is inane.
Go fuck yourself, Thomas. Oh, please. We've all suspected for years. And I told you he was a crook!
So what if I am? I don't need your money anymore. I'm going to be richer than all of you. I own half the pyramid.
I own half a pyramid. I own half a pyramid too. Give me those. That is for shredding, my Eugene.
Told you. We see everything. You went wrong, Frenchie. Olu. Thanks for the info, Abshire.
It was my pleasure.
we all suspected it, and
And
yeah.
and he's like, oh, but it's love. And she's like,
And then
no, it's
and
we're siblings. It's disgusting. Yep.
incest.
Happens a lot more than you think. I own half a pyramid. And the other's like, no, I own half a pyramid. No, I do. And
And then it like all hell breaks loose, and they're just
yeah.
oh my god, it's so good. And then they all start like hitting each other and like being like generally like crazy and like brawling, and somehow the boat catches fire, and Ed comes in and he's like, what happened? And then Steve just goes,
He says, I used passive aggression.
Yeah, and he's like super like proud of himself.
Yeah, and this rewatch, I actually understood how he knew all the secrets. It's because Ab Shear told them, the dude that got in on the pyramid scheme. And so I was like, oh, that's cheeky
Yep.
bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're smart. Yeah, he was a cheeky bitch. But that's good that you caught that because I only caught that this time too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and then they row away from the ship, and there's literally people jumping overboard because the whole ship is on fire.
They really like what is it? They crashed that party.
Yeah, they they really did. And then Frenchie asks Olu about the money or something, and he's like, "Oh, I invested it." And then you see the other servants sitting on another boat with all the riches. So that's what he invested in.
I love that too. That just shows like that like made me so happy. It's almost
Hmm.
like you know those people had like the worst lives with those people. And so the fact that they like got all of their fucking money in the end is like the best revenge.
Yeah, and not
And he's like wearing one of those he's like wearing the wig on the boat.
oh yeah, and it's not all money too because they have all these I don't really know what it all is, but it's like the candle holders and all these
Yeah.
fancy shit that they have all on the boat.
Yep. They stole it from the ship and they're like, "All right, let's go."
Yep. Let's ditch this joint.
Yeah. And then the next scene is like also one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah. It's so sweet. We see Ed and Stede on deck and
In front of the moon. The moon is like
yes.
full. It's
Full
just like
moon.
such a beautiful like it's just such a beautiful scene.
Yeah. And Ed has the red
Silk.
fabric in his hand again, and Steve's like, "Oh, let me see that," and then he folds it the right way and puts it in his
Oh,
dress.
can I say something?
Yes.
I noticed when he said, "Can I see this?" He like was reluctant. Like he was like holding it, but like Steed had to like kind of
Yeah.
to pry it out of his hands, but like gently, right? Like it's not but it was one of those moments where you can tell like he has probably never let a soul touch that piece of fabric.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, and so Steed folds it the correct way and puts it in the chest pocket
His vest.
yeah,
Yeah.
of Ed's vest. And he's like, "Oh, you wear fine things well," and you see like, oh, it's so soft.
Like Ed's face literally just like lights up and they're like
Yes.
standing next to each other and like in the
No, in front of each other, and they're kind of moving towards each other.
like they're gonna kiss, like you want them to kiss so bad and it's like
Well, they probably want that too,
yeah.
but then they sort of don't. And at
They awkwardly go,
point,
"Oh, yeah, no, see you later."
no, yeah, have a
Peace.
good night.
Peace.
Pew pew pew
Pew,
pew.
pew, pew,
Yeah,
pew. Like finger guns, like, see you
but
later.
yes, gay
Gay
panic.
panic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they kind of sort of walk off, and then they both look back,
Yeah.
like they do not want to go their separate ways.
No.
Oh, it's so cute. And then the last scene we see King George looking at a bloody cat flag,
Yep.
which is obviously Frenchie's from the first episode, and enter Badminton 2.
Yeah. His fucking annoying ass. What is his name again? Like Elliot or some stupid thing. What is it?
Oh, I don't I
I
don't
I
know.
forgot what his name is, but yeah, that annoying man's brother from the very beginning of the show.
Yeah. It's his twin, which you can definitely see he's probably the same guy.
Yeah, and he's like, "Wait, didn't your brother have like lots more hair?" And he's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe."
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You can see that he's um
Embarrassed.
yeah, he's self-conscious of his bald head.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, "I wouldn't know."
Yeah. And then the king is doing drugs? Question mark, question mark.
Yeah, no. So like, cocaine was like, like I think that was it. I think cocaine was like a big thing back then. Like they would just like casually do some cocaine about it. Like I don't know.
Well, it definitely looked like he was doing okay.
Yeah.
And then he said something about these cat bandits.
Yeah, and he's like, "I'll get those cat bandits. That's the last thing I do."
Yeah. Oh yeah, on my honor, I actually wrote it down. It's so stupid.
Good, good, good. You do it.
On my honor, I'll ride these cat bandits straight to hell.
Cat bandits. I
It's
just
so
love that.
funny, yeah, because of
Yeah.
that flag. Oh,
Yeah.
French's flag. It's
Yep.
been recovered. Yeah,
All right. Well, that was the episode. Chaos ensued. It was great.
chaos has successfully been ended.
Yeah. I just love like massive aggression. Like I think I'm always gonna say that from now on. Like, oh man, I just like want to do massive aggression.
Yeah, I've actually been using it in real life, and people are like, "What?"
You're like, you don't know because you don't watch the best show in
If
the
you know,
world.
you
It's
know.
fine.
Yeah, you're not part of the elite crew,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
crew of the revenge.
I love it. I just like from beginning to end, this episode was fucking brilliant. Like it was so good. There was no, and that's the other thing about this show. There's never a dull moment. There's never a moment where you're just like, okay, get on with it. Like it's just like
Yeah,
1, 2, 1, 2. Like like writing the scenes.
yeah, and if you blink, you miss something.
Literally, that's why. Okay, this show is only a half hour.
Hmm.
When you're breaking it down, it literally takes you more than an hour
Yeah,
to catch
yeah,
things, and you still miss shit.
yes,
Like the writing is just
it's so good.
it's so
Yeah.
good. So good. All right, guys. Well, that was episode 5. We hope you enjoy it. We're probably gonna upload the next ones super soon.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah. And
Yeah,
things.
we'll see
Done.
you back on the revenge in the next episode.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, also, I just want to note, I hope you guys are enjoying the new way that we're doing this podcast. Hopefully,
Yeah.
having different kinds of content will be fun for you guys. I know for us, it's super fun. Like I don't
Yeah.
feel as like restricted.
Yeah, it also kind of feels like we're just having a new podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, because it meshes. That's the other thing. Everything kind of meshes. Like our autism, our interest in like
Mhm.
stories. I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like it's all just encompassed. But
And pirates.
hey, pirates! I saw your
Yay.
thing the other day. It was just like pirates, 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 pirates. I was like, yes, bitch.
Yeah, River's referring to the status update of my Instagram.
Yeah, because you can do that now, apparently.
Yeah, it's so weird. It reminds me of MSN.
Oh, doesn't it? Like that was exactly what I was thinking of, because I used to do that shit all the time, like weird, vague, like lyrics, you know?
Oh,
Like back in the day when you wanted to be real moody, you just like use a song lyric.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.